more breaking news. The Supreme Court ruling that former President Donald Trump is immune from prosecution for official acts during his presidency. Let's get right to 7's Dan Housley live outside the court in Washington, D.C. this afternoon with all the breaking details for us. Dan?
Well, Amaka, a very big decision. The U.S. Supreme Court deciding for the first time in American history that American presidents do have some immunity for official acts, and President Trump included among them, some immunity for official acts while they are in office. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote that presidents have immunity for official acts in office and absolute immunity for core constitutional powers. Justice Roberts said former President Trump's conversations with his attorney general are protected, but his conversations with his vice president may or may not be. The decision was brought by a 6-3 vote split among the conservative and liberal lines of the court. Justice Roberts, writing for the majority, the president enjoys no immunity for his unofficial acts, and not everything the president does is official. The president is not above the law, but Congress may not criminalize the president's conduct in carrying out the responsibilities of the executive branch under the Constitution. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, writing for the minority, disagreed in a scathing dissent. Writing today's ruling lets Trump violate the law and uses official powers for evil ends, saying the president is now a king above the law. Justice Sotomayor, writing of the decision that it reshapes the institution of the presidency, makes a mockery of the principle that no man is above the law. She says the decision gives former President Trump all the immunity he asked for and more, because our Constitution does not shield the former president from answering for criminal and treasonous acts. She finishes with fear for our democracy. I dissent. Former President Trump almost immediately on Truth Social, writing a short statement, calling it not just a big win for him, but Trump writing, big win for our Constitution and democracy. Proud to be an American. The Biden campaign released a statement saying that the ruling doesn't change the facts of what Trump did, and doubled down on previous statements that Trump snapped when he lost the 2020 election, writing, Trump is already running for president as a convicted felon for the very same reason he sat idly by while the mob violently attacked the Capitol. He thinks he's above the law and is willing to do anything to gain and hold on to power for himself. As a practical matter, this derails Special Prosecutor Jack Smith's case against Trump, sends it back to the lower court. And while it is possible that Judge Chutkan or Jack Smith could try to get the case back on the rails and rush it in before the election, it now seems unlikely. We're live outside the Supreme Court. Dan Housley, 7 News.
Dan, thank you. We're now joined by constitutional law expert and Northeastern professor Jeremy Paul. Mr. Paul, thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Great. So we've heard some strong opinions from both sides of the court. The conservative side of the court, certainly a strong opinion from the liberal side of the court. Does anything about today's decision at all surprise you?
You know, it has to surprise me because it's so shocking. It was predictable based on what happened at the oral argument. But I guess what I would say is that the court has this exactly backwards. So the court says that presidents are not immune for unofficial acts. So an unofficial act might be, picking up an axe and chopping someone's arm off. But that's not what we're worried about, right? That's not the thing that Americans should think about. What we're worried about is presidents using the trappings of their office, pretending to be official, and engaging in unlawful and dangerous conduct, spying on their political opponents, shutting down businesses who have gotten in their way. So it's very easy for a president to say, oh, well, I was doing this for official reasons. I mean, suppose that President Biden decided, well, former President Trump is possessing lots and lots of classified information. I'm afraid he's going to leak it. In fact, there's evidence that he did leak it before. And so I'm going to lock him up because I can't afford the possibility of him being out there, right? Unless he could be impeached, which in today's political context is very unlikely either way for either party. Now he would be immune from doing such a horrible thing, which of course we don't want him to. We don't want our presidents to be breaking the law. We want them to be bold and fearless, but bold and fearless within the law. And so this, to me, even though we all saw it coming, this decision, it still is surprising and shocking because it's so contrary to American tradition. It's really a sad day for America.
Well, clearly, real quick, the conservative side of the court and some other people have kind of felt that if the president does have some sort of immunity, then he's always going to be, his other political opponents are always going to persecute the president. What would you say to them in response to that?
Well, we're 200 something years in, and no president has ever been prosecuted before because no president has been as lawless as President Trump is alleged to have been. When President Nixon was accused of the cover-up involving the Watergate burglars, everybody thought he was subject to prosecution, which is why Gerald Ford pardoned him. When Senator McConnell voted against conviction of Trump in the impeachment trial, he explicitly said, "Don't worry, Americans, because President Trump will be subject to the criminal process." So I think this is a make-weight argument. I really think that this is not only is it a sad day for America, it's also a very sad day for the United States Supreme Court. They now appear to be a functioning arm of the Republican Party rather than guardians of Americans' freedoms.
Mr. Paul, thank you. A lot of strong opinion on today's decision, that is for sure.
Yes, thank you.